Oh, sorry guys, I have to take this. Hey, what's up? Am I busy right now? No? Actually, you know what? I'll call you back in like 14 minutes. Right. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Tiana Zhang, and what you just witnessed was a very trying act of nonchalance. While to most of you in the audience, nonchalance is merely a term that means not trying, those in my generation has transformed this word into a silly adjective that many aspire to embody. Not only does it now mean not trying, it more so represents trying to seem like you're not. Because careless is cool, effortless is cool. At least that's what social media has led us to mentally equate. Take, for example, these phrases. Oh, I didn't get the job, but I didn't really try in the interview. And I didn't ace a test I actually cared about because I didn't really study for it. And I didn't get the girl because I tried to play it cool. This deeply fractured ideology has led us to believe that if we don't try or seem as such, then if we happen to not measure to the success that we set ourselves the bar for, it's less embarrassing. But that's not the case. And it's affected my generation's ability to connect with and to communicate with each other. Dr. Sherry Turkle has dedicated her life's work to studying technology and how it affects each other and ourselves. I remember coming across this quote of hers that was so life-changing to me because it not only perfectly encapsulated the way I saw internet-based relationships, it also encapsulated the way I viewed connections that were based on convenience. And she wrote, the ties we form through the internet are not in the end the ties that bind. Rather, they are the ties that preoccupy. So going back to this act of nonchalance, by raise of hands, who here has heard of the term double texting? Okay, fair amount. So double texting is this concept of a text sent by another with a noticeable time gap in between. And however silly it is to notice this, I've witnessed peers, classmates, friends put so much weight on a mere time gap, it's ridiculous. Because if someone has taken the time to respond to you on 2 separate occasions at 2 separate times, obviously they're invested. Too invested. Too effortful. Sometimes even deemed too desperate. And in turn, this ideology has permeated some of my peers, and they've begun to calculate their response times. And this is just one example of how calculating and trying to seem like you're effortless actually takes more effort than if you were to respond as the ideas arose in your head. So, back to ties that preoccupy. Think about the people you interact with in a day. How many of the people can you genuinely say you have an authentic, meaningful, sustainable, and beneficial connection with? As a genuinely curious person, you can only imagine the types of questions I pose to my friends or other strangers I come across with on a regular basis. And recently, the crux of my questions has been, how many people do you feel known by? And what about those people makes you feel known? If you're anything like those I've interviewed and spoken with, it's going to be one of these at the heart of your response. It's going to be either the longevity you've known the person, or circumstances of convenience, and or having seen each other at your worst to know that you could stick with each other no matter what. While I agree with those I've spoken to, I have to say, it doesn't take years to know someone fundamentally. It doesn't take apathy to get the curiosity out of us. And it certainly doesn't take tragedy to evoke reliability. It takes effort. Conversation is an activity in itself. In fact, I believe it's one of the most meaningful ways to spend your time, And done properly, when you're having conversation with someone with the genuine intent of wanting to learn about them, when you're listening to understand, not listening to reply, that's invaluable. That's worth more than 10,000 passive social media interactions. It's worth more than small talk with your coworkers, with your friends, or someone you never really take the effort to learn about deeper. Imagine how refreshing it would be to talk about someone, or to talk with someone and ponder and question and really talk with, and that was a normalized occurrence. But not only has this forced ideology of nonchalance prevented us from having these deep-rooted conversations, we're obsessed with wanting to stay preoccupied. Anytime you're bored or you're in the car not driving, in the doctor's office, you have a spare moment, you reach for the phone. And in turn, you sacrifice your ability to stay present. Like Dr. Turkle would say, we're scared to encroach on each other's lives. You know, you don't want to be a hindrance. So instead, we encroach on each other's lives constantly, just not in real time. And of course, all the connections and crafts that we focus on come as a result of circumstance. However, they're sustained by choice. And I think about my own life. When I think about the connections with people that I value, the meaningful connections that I've been able to sustain, and the people I've been lucky to come across, I think about how it's an exchange of energy and effort. I think about the people that inspire me. When I think about the art that makes me think, to what makes us fundamentally human, that's an effect of trying. It's not a fast-paced world, people. You live in the world you choose to live in. And you don't have to subscribe to these nonsensical unwritten rules of text. You don't have to devalue your own effort and cover it up with indifference just to set yourself up for failure because you don't want to seem like you're trying, you want to seem cool, you want to seem effortless. Because nothing effortless is worthwhile. Nothing effortless is worthwhile. It's not the goal you set out to achieve. It's not this lifelong dream you've had. Because the things we say at funerals, we can say those things on birthdays, we can say them at weddings, we can say them on any weekday we are given. I want you to take the effort and be active in the relationships and foster them. Because speaking how you feel and taking that energy to invest in a craft, to invest in a person, to learn more and genuinely do so, that could never hinder a connection worth fostering. It's how you get to be known. And it's why effort will always prevail. And nonchalance? Well, nonchalance is just a joke. Thank you.